Under the upfront fare pay model for drivers, I have given nearly 1,000 rides now and also seen nearly 2,000 of those upfront fare accept screens. So today we're going to go over my experience and strategies after driving with upfront fares for 20 weeks. Alright, so again, here in Minneapolis and St. Paul we have upfront fares, where you see the fare upfront on the accept screen. And on the accept screen you're also given the expected duration and mileage of the trip. And as I've said in past update videos, it's great to have this information up front now. Drivers have so much more control over their driving with all this information up front. And again, it can be a lot of information to process, especially at first when you only have about 10 seconds to accept these requests. But I personally have figured out that there is one bit of information that is most important and crucial to me accepting a lot of these rides, and that is if the ride is paying at least $1 per mile. This is a calculation I have to make on the fly, but you look at the pickup and drop off mileage, and if that equates to nearly what the ride is paying out, I almost always accept those rides. And I won't always include the pickup mileage as well. If the ride is a longer ride and say it's only a mile or a mile and a half away, if the on-trip mileage pays roughly $1 per mile, I will accept those rides. And my acceptance rate is hovering at right around 45% because of this. A lot of the trips that I get, especially the ones that are longer than 10 miles, are not paying $1 per mile. I've also found, especially as of late, I am using the stop requests option a lot. This stops back-to-back requests from coming in. I've found that when I'm giving a ride, I'll get a lot of these back-to-back requests, and that's a lot of information to process, especially while you're giving a ride. And for some reason, Uber still includes the distance to pick up from where you currently are when you're giving a ride, instead of from where you drop that passenger off to where you would have that new pickup. So you have to try to calculate what that actual pickup mileage will be while you're in a trip. But regardless, it's still a lot of information to process while you're giving a ride, so I do use that stop requests a lot. And this will hopefully also help my acceptance rate, because I've found that I've been declining a lot of those requests, those back-to-back requests. But I'm using the stop requests option a lot now, especially during peak hours when requests are just flying in. I know right when I drop that current passenger off and I log back in to drive, I'm going to be able to process that information on the accept screen a lot easier with a lot less pressure when I'm not currently in a trip and driving. So again, I have that $1 per mile acceptance requirement that I apply to most rides. There will be times where I break that. If I'm giving a destination ride and I know that this destination trip maybe isn't paying that $1 per mile, it's not paying great, but it's also getting me a lot closer to my destination, I will accept those rides. Also, a longer ride might be paying out really well, but I know it's going to drop me off somewhere way out in the suburbs and I don't want to be stuck out there. I'll decline a lot of those rides. And during peak hours, if I want to get a bunch of trips, especially to obtain a Quest bonus, I'll try to accept a lot of the shorter rides. Some of those longer rides during that period might be paying out better, but I'm able to get a lot of those shorter rides to get closer to that Quest more efficiently. I've also noticed that fares from downtown areas are paying out really well, and that could be a strategy for a driver. If you want to get paid well and give a bunch of short rides, you could just hover around a downtown area and give a lot of those short rides. Also, my pickup threshold. Under the old time and distance model, it was about 1.5 miles. If a ride was more than 1.5 miles away, I was typically declining those. But under this model, under the upfront fare model, on a lot of trips, we're getting paid for that pickup distance. So again, I have to analyze that information on the accept screen, but I'm accepting a lot of those trips. Sometimes they pay out really well, especially the long distance pickup trips. Now, the most important piece, my earnings. How do those look? I now have 20 weeks of data, and my earnings are up 4% over those 20 weeks and up 11% with the fuel surcharge in place. In my most recent week driving, I gave 39 rides that were less than 10 miles. I earned less on only 2 of those rides compared to the old time and distance model, and earned more on 29 of them compared to that old time and distance model, and earned the exact same on 7 other minimum fare rides. And again, my acceptance rate is 45%. Which means most of the requests that I'm receiving are not paying that $1 per mile requirement that I have. Now also, my Quest bonuses have been declining in recent weeks, but I have found that overall my earnings are holding steady right at $30 per hour. It really sucks to see those Quest bonuses decline. Over the last 2 weeks, I believe it's been 50 rides for $30, as opposed to the previous couple of years where I was consistently getting Quests of at least $115 for 50 rides. And it will also be interesting. So the fuel surcharge is in place right now. And that fuel surcharge, which is 55 cents here in Minneapolis and St. Paul, is added into every fare. So once that fuel surcharge is removed, you'd figure that every single ride is going to lose that 55 cents. So drivers like myself that are basing it on my dollar per mile, how is that going to affect my psychology in accepting rides? Also, as far as my earnings, I should point out that I am approved for Uber Green trips because I drive a hybrid vehicle. So those Uber Green trips, I did a video on this a few weeks ago. I'm getting paid better on all of those Uber Green trips. I give about 20% Uber Green trips, 15 to 20% Uber Green per week, but those are definitely improving my earnings as well. And again, a lot of requests are paying for pickup distance now, which is great. I did do a video on Uber long distance pickups a few weeks ago where I found that on those long distance pickups, I was getting paid out really well, 100% of the fare a lot of the time. It's funny though, since those few weeks since that long distance video, I have not seen one long distance pickup. Uber may have been finding that they were losing a lot of money on these long distance pickups, so they might have just removed that long distance pay altogether. Again, overall, my experience has been good. My earnings are up 4% compared to the time and distance model. I'm loving having that information on the accept screen. I'm able to much better control my day. But those of you that are also driving with upfront fares, how has your experience been? What kind of information are you looking for on that accept screen? Leave a comment below and let us know. Thanks again for watching. Please like, comment, or subscribe and drive safe. Thanks.